Hello, Wanderer. I'm glad you survived long enough to tune in. Sit, stay a while. Every story you hear is original, written by C.L. Portsmouth. So light your candle, lock your doors. When the world ended, the only thing left was the signal. You found it. Welcome to Tales Beyond Salvation. Let's begin.
I'm lucky, I guess. I inherited my parents' farmhouse on the Isle of Dreadmoor, a beautiful 2-acre property where my only neighbor lived a good 2-minute walk away. It suited me perfectly. I've always been a bit of a recluse. I'd rather spend my days watching cute puppy videos on my laptop than interacting with people in the real world. Moving here was peaceful, quiet. I had just enough money tucked away to avoid rushing into work. For 3 months, I lived in near-perfect solitude, aside from the occasional food or parcel delivery, of course. Then I met Todd. Tall, skinny, shoulder-length brown hair, a walking human interruption. At first, I resented him for disturbing my bubble, but Todd turned out to be pretty cool. And he showed up just when the dread of finding a job had begun eating at my gut. He said he was an influencer, made silly videos for bored kids on YouTube. Apparently, it had earned him enough to buy his house outright. His problem? No time to maintain it. My solution? Offer housekeeping services, and maybe play the long game. Who knows? Maybe I'd just marry into that algorithm-fueled fortune. The job was easy. A bit of dusting, some sweeping, feeding his rabbits when he was away on business, and most importantly, taking in packages. We barely saw each other, which suited me just fine. I got paid to be alone. But things changed in late January. One night, Todd showed up at my door grinning like he'd won the lottery. He offered me £500 on top of my regular pay to do one thing: wait for a very special package while he was gone. No feeding animals, no cleaning. Just take the package in. I told him he didn't have to pay me extra for doing what I'd already been doing for months. But truthfully, I had my eye on a new laptop, and it was snowing hard. 5 inches deep, biting wind, and no reason to leave the house except to drag a box off his porch. Easy money. The package arrived 6 days later. I'd gone to bed around 10 p.m. By the time I opened my curtains at 10 the next morning, it was sitting on Todd's porch. I didn't think much of the late-night delivery. This was Dreadmoor, after all. But the size of the thing stopped me cold. From a distance, it looked like a cardboard appliance box. Up close, it was clearly wood, nailed shut, and roughly the size of a washing machine. I sighed and pulled on my wellies. My thin coat did nothing to protect me from the wind as I stomped over. I was already annoyed to discover Todd hadn't left the garage unlocked, and the spare key was missing too. There was no way I was getting that thing into shelter without help. I called my mum's friend Angela, who worked at a warehouse, and said she could borrow a dolly. We cleared the path, rolled the dolly into position, and tried to get the box into my garage for safekeeping. The first wheel glided over the garage lip effortlessly. The second caught. The box tipped. Angela swore she heard something crack inside. I felt my stomach drop. Todd had paid me £500 just to keep that box safe. Whatever was inside had to be worth a fortune. We got it upright again and pushed it against the radiator in the garage. I tried to tell myself it was fine. Todd would blame the delivery company if anything had gone wrong. I closed the garage door and tried not to think about it. For a while, it worked. Then the smell started. It was cold and heavy. Sweet, almost. It reminded me of when I found a dead deer by the train tracks as a kid. It wasn't just in the garage. It flowed out of it, seeped into my kitchen, clung to every surface. By the 7th day, I couldn't take it anymore. There was a reddish-brown liquid pooling under one corner of the box. The stench was unbearable. Something inside had broken. Shaking, I opened the sliding doors for fresh air and pulled out my phone. I had to tell Todd. I had to face it. I took a deep breath and hit dial. Then, a sound. Bzzzt, 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 bzzzt. A vibration, coming from inside the box. I froze, my phone still ringing in one hand, the other clamped to my mouth. Bzzzt, 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 bzzzt. I canceled the call. The buzzing stopped. Silence settled again. I ran to my dad's old workbench and grabbed a hammer. Using the claw end, I wedged it between the nailed wooden panels and yanked. The panel gave way, and I screamed. The smell hit me first, sour, meaty, wrong. My eyes burned. Then I saw him, Todd, folded inside like a sardine, wrapped in soiled blankets, surrounded by empty food containers and a half-full water bottle. His skin had a green tinge. His hand flopped out of the opening, lifeless. But that wasn't all. Tucked near his chest was a camera, its red light still blinking. It was still recording. I dropped to my knees, vomiting hard onto the concrete floor. Todd was dead, very dead. I backed out of the garage and called the police, sobbing. They said it wasn't my fault. Todd had filmed the whole thing. He'd mailed himself from overseas. It was supposed to be a YouTube video, documenting his journey and ending with a surprise reveal when I opened the door. He'd survived the trip. He'd even recorded footage of himself laughing. But the delivery had come late. The garage was locked. The winter was brutal. And sometime that morning, after 6 a.m., the coroner guessed, he experienced paradoxical undressing, a hypothermia symptom where the brain begins to fail and the body feels like it's burning. He took off his clothes and collapsed. But that wasn't what killed him. No, I did. When we tipped the box, bringing it into the garage, his body, slumped at just the wrong angle, snapped his neck against the inner panel. The police insisted it was an accident. But the camera saw everything, and so did I. And that's why I don't take in packages anymore.